It's the Afterglow. TJ Brassil, our super producer, Yogi Roth. That was Kalen DeBoer, your reigning Pac-12 Coach of the Year, your AP Pac-12 Coach of the Year. Huge fan of how he's built this program and where it's going. What are your takeaways, TJ? What question do you wish that we asked in our time with the head coach?
Well, first off, I got to say, I love the small town vibe we're going with here.
Yeah.
See, the funny part is, so I always considered myself growing up in a small town, and we just hit like 12,000, I think, a year or two ago. And to me, that's always been small. When you said 2,500, I was like, wow, that's pretty big compared to that. So I was basically living in a metropolis for that. But no, I think that was really cool, and you can see why his team follows him. You can see the leadership. You can feel that just through the camera. Like I could feel that energy, which is really cool. The question that I had was more so when he was talking about Michael Penix Jr. and how everyone was saying, like, everyone was kind of surprised that Penix came back. I was curious, like, what was that conversation like between him? Because, like, coaches always want what's best for their players. And like, he wants him to go succeed in the NFL, but then at the same time, like, of course you want the NCAA's leading passer back for another season. So like, what was that like for him? Kind of like, was he torn? What was that conversation like? Was he surprised? Like, I would have loved to hear him go into that a little more.
Well, what was amazing was that, so I was up there and I called one of their last games of the regular season. I think it was the Colorado game, second to last week maybe. And I'm up there and he said that was a week where they were talking to a lot of the draft eligible players about their future because they're trying to get ahead of it. Well, cut to, mid-January and Michael Penix Jr. goes viral because he planted a video of him saying, "I'm coming back" at their banquet that nobody knew about other than him and the video department. So you watch this video on YouTube, you can see it, or anywhere on social media, and this video of Michael Penix Jr. pops up in front of this banquet hall, and Coach DeBoer stands up and he looks over to his right and he's like, "What is happening? You're coming back?" So like, I don't think he had any
That's awesome.
inkling that he was coming back in that regard. But I would have loved to have asked, what were the pre-draft conversations like in advance of that moment? Because I think all of us were expecting Michael Penix Jr. to leave. I think my biggest takeaway from this was, and I'll remember was number one, it was how consistent he is. And I say that because about 6-7 years ago, I was up in Seattle with the Seahawks. And obviously I've been around Coach Carroll for a long time, one of my greatest mentors in life. And I was asking his assistant coaches, "Hey, what do you think is the best trait about Coach Carroll?" And they all said a version of, he's uncommonly consistent. So uncommonly consistent on scheduling. You could hear Kalen DeBoer talk about, how connected he is to looking at the schedule months, year out, from where we are today. You look at uncommonly consistent on film study, uncommonly consistent with poise on the sideline, uncommonly consistent in recruiting, uncommonly consistent with relationships, like uncommonly consistent with growth mindset. I mean, how many times did he say growth mindset? And I'm laughing internally in the conversation because I'm like, yeah, like he knows exactly what he's about. He knows how to move the program forward, and he's not afraid to learn from others, which is why I reference him as a seeker. So I just think UW they're about to go, man, especially with this new Pac-12 with the departure of two teams, notably SC. Like, UW is about to they already have made major noise, but I think it's about to be very consistent at an elite level that will remind you of what Chris Peterson did, and I think take it even to another level.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny when you talk about the planning part. That was something I had noted too, was he was like, "I'm planned like about a year out from now." And I was like, I mean, that goes to speak at like why he's been so successful at all his stops, because like, to be that thoughtful and that detailed and that planned out, like, it's gonna lend itself to success. And then last thing that, and it's not even a question, it was rather entertaining when you were asking about the fourth down or the daughter. I was kind of expecting him to be like, "Oh, I don't know, I was nervous on the daughter," and he's like, I just try to sit back and enjoy it. And I was like, honestly, that's a great approach to that, as opposed to like, I mean, I'm sure there's some nerves there, but I think that's a great way to go about that as well.
Totally. I totally thought he would say, daughter at bat, Division One athlete, like 1,000%. Like I'm, so I took a lot out of that as a parent as well. And even on a serious note, to the parents of quarterbacks who are listening to this and high profile recruits, enjoy it. Like, I loved what he said about that. I'm just going to be dad. I'm just going to kick back and watch and celebrate them competing versus celebrating or projecting an outcome and basing my emotional reaction off of that. And I think when you watch him on the sideline now, TJ, when you watch games on Saturday, you'll have a different lens which you view Coach DeBoer. I love watching his body language on the sideline, and he's connected to it. He's intense, but man, he's consistent too.
Yeah.
Like when he gets after it, like it's a real reason to get after, say, an official or fire his team up. Like, it's not all these peaks and valleys and highs and lows. Like, and I think that's what your team reflects, and that team reflects it. Like, they make such big plays in big moments and don't shy from it. They cut it loose. And when you talk to him or Ryan Grubb or Chuck Morrell or William Inge, like anyone on his staff, you feel that. So anyway, long story short, I've loved that conversation. And we have loved, haven't we loved like the State of the Program series in the spring?
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So with that said, not a lot left here in season 2, but boy, has it been enjoyable. Husky fans, I know you enjoyed that. I know you can't wait to get to the season right around the corner. We're packing Husky Stadium. Can't wait to get up there for a home game. 7 straight wins heading into this season. UW, longest winning streak in the Pac-12. How long do they keep it going? Maybe they keep it going all season long. It'd be fun, wouldn't it? We got to track that in college football. So as always, share with a friend. Thanks for listening. Go Dogs.